She said, "You'll still be in it." And I smiled like that was enough. But I know how distance works. I know how friendships fade. I just prayed we wouldn't become one of them. She told me she was moving while we were in line at the grocery store. Not at brunch, not over wine, not in one of our 100-hour phone calls where we spiral into nostalgia or talk about nothing and everything. No, it was right between comparing almond milks and me joking about how she's a traitor for switching brands. She said it like it was an errand she had to run. I think I'm really gonna do it. Move to Denver. And then she picked up oat milk like everything was fine. I think I blinked at the back of her head for a solid 10 seconds before I could say anything. I wasn't mad, not yet. I was disoriented, like I just missed a step. "Wait, what?" I finally said, slower than I meant to sound. And that was it. That was the start of the ending. It's been 2 weeks since that, and now there are moving boxes in her apartment, and I'm pretending this is okay. Which it's not. It's really freaking not. I've known Tara for 9 years. We met at a dumpster fire of a job we both quit within 6 months, bonded over burnt coffee and borderline illegal working conditions. When someone stole my lunch from the break room fridge, she literally brought me 2 sandwiches the next day. And not cheap ones, paninis. Something about her just glued into my life before I realized it. She was suddenly that person who got the 3 a.m. texts, the dumb meme tags, the voice notes about nothing. We have 10,000 inside jokes. We've cried in each other's bathrooms. I know what her phone password is, and what her childhood dog's name was, and which ex still haunts her a little. So when she said, "I think I'm gonna do it," what I heard wasn't just geographical. It wasn't about Denver. It was goodbye, minus the courtesy of actually saying goodbye. And maybe she thought easing it into my brain like that would soften the freaking reality of it, but it didn't. I played it cool in the store, which was my first mistake. I nodded and said something supportive like, "Oh wow, that's huge, and that sounds exciting." Like I was a coworker, not her best friend. I smiled, while every cell in my body realigned to prepare for a life without her 1 mile away. I didn't sleep that night. Actually, I laid in bed with Spotify looping some sad indie playlist while I kept staring at her old photos on my phone. Halloween costumes, beach days, hangover selfies with greasy breakfast burritos. She looked so happy all the time. Or maybe she was happy. Maybe she is happy. And God, I know how selfish this sounds, but I wasn't ready to give that up. To be left behind. I finally called her the next day. I waited until late afternoon, when I sounded more normal, less like a sleep-deprived clingy kid. "So, Denver," I said, and she laughed a little, like it was already this whole thing we both understood. "Yeah. I mean, nothing's set in stone yet, but pretty close. The offer's good, and I think I need it. That part broke something open in me. Because I knew she meant more than a job. She meant space, fresh air, a restart, maybe everything she couldn't say out loud. And I didn't know if I was included in that restart, or if I was part of the noise she had to get away from. Here's the part that makes everything worse. I love her. Not romantically, it's not like that, but still with some kind of wild, terrifying loyalty that doesn't have a name. I would choose her in a room of everyone. She's home. Not always easy, not always perfect. Not even close, but real. So how do you brace for home to pack up and leave? Since she told me, I've been doing this thing where I try to imagine different versions of my life. Like a fast-forward reel. Me waking up on a boring weekend with no plan, and no text from her saying brunch, sweatpants okay, or me walking into some dumb party alone without her sharp little commentary in my ear, the way she makes every boring thing tolerable. Me crying on my floor because some guy ghosts me after 3 weeks, and she's not 3 blocks away with ice cream and rage. I try to run those scenarios in my head, like practice, mental prep. But each one hits like a sucker punch. And the absolute worst part? I can't tell her any of this. I cannot be the reason she hesitates, or feels guilty, or wonders if she should stay. That's how fucked up it is. I'd rather sit here swallowing this ache than make her second-guess something she clearly needs. So I've become the supportive friend. Gold medal. Texting her Zillow links. Sending her packing hacks. Joking about snow boots. And every time I say, "This is going to be amazing for you," I feel this crack widen in my chest that I don't know how to close. The truth is, I have no idea who I am without her. No script for this version of reality. Only that it's barreling toward me like a freight train, and I'm just standing there, pretending I know how to catch it. The thing no one tells you about losing someone who's still alive is how much it messes up your sense of time. Like, I keep thinking I'll text her later, then remembering later is running out. Every dinner becomes a countdown. Every stupid errand together. Target, CVS, grocery runs, suddenly feels like a documentary about our last normal Tuesday. We've started labeling things as one of the last times, one of the last rooftop nights, one of the last lazy hangs on my couch while she picks at my fries and doesn't say sorry. One of the last times she'll lay sideways on my rug while venting about work and swiping endlessly on Hinge. It's surreal, and she doesn't even seem sad. Or maybe she is, and she's just better at hiding it than I am. I've gotten clumsy. I almost cried in the hardware aisle at Home Depot because we were buying bubble wrap and she made some dumb joke like, "I can already hear future me stabbing this mid-assembly nightstand in Denver." And I laughed, but it caught in my throat, like my body knew the grief before my brain did. There's grief, by the way. Nobody tells you that either. That losing your best friend to geography feels like mourning. Like they're dying, but politely. And it's weirdly isolating. Because what am I supposed to say? My best friend is choosing happiness, and it's ruining me? Say that out loud, and people look at you like you're unhinged. Like maybe you're codependent. Maybe I am. She threw herself a moving party last weekend. Not a goodbye party. She insisted on that. No sad vibes. I want to celebrate, not cry. So we grilled quesadillas in her backyard and played her favorite playlist and drank these overly boozy sangrias that gave me a headache halfway through. At one point, I caught her talking to our friend Cass like nothing was changing, laughing the way she always laughs when she drinks, even louder, like her body can't hold the joy in. And I swear to God, I had this moment where I thought, maybe I am the only one who's struggling. Maybe the rest of them know how to let go. Maybe I'm built wrong. Anyway, I helped her clean up after. Just us. The post-party quiet was weirdly loud. Empty cups, sticky counter. Her place smelled like citrus and smoke, and dust from the broken blinds she never fixed. She sat on the counter and sighed. "That was good," she said, but softer, like she was saying it to herself. And before I could stop myself, I blurted out, "Are you sure you want to go?" She didn't answer right away. That silence scared the shit out of me. Not because I thought she'd say yes or no, but because I knew how heavy the question was, and I hadn't meant to drop it like that. Finally, she said, "I don't know if I want to. I just think I have to." That right there was the most honest thing she said in the whole process. And it gutted me. Because I get it. She's been stuck here. Not just in the city, but in her patterns, her job, the mess with her mom, the ex who kept orbiting even after he should have burned up on re-entry. She's never said it out loud, but I've seen it. She's been fading. So of course she has to go. Of course Denver is oxygen. I can't argue that. Doesn't make it easier. The last 20 minutes of that night were quiet. No music, no talking. Just washing dishes side by side like an old married couple who know everything and nothing about each other. She had soap bubbles on her nose. I didn't tell her. Let me say this too. While I'm spiraling, being the one who stays behind feels humiliating. Not because I want to follow her, though that thought has crossed my mind more than once, but because it makes you question your own life. Like, why am I here still? What am I building that deserves my roots? I started obsessively Googling flights last week, just to see how often they run. How long? How much? There's a nonstop. 3.5 hours. I told her that. She smiled, real soft like, "You'll come visit, won't you?" And before I could stop myself, I said, "Yeah, of course." "You'll get sick of me." Playing it off like that makes the ache easier to swallow. But the voice inside screamed, "Only if you still want me there in 6 months. In a year. After the new job and the new people, and this whole new life starts folding over the old one. Because new lives always do that, right? Like snowfall over tire tracks. Suddenly you can't see the path anymore, and everything before it just disappears under the fresh start. So here I am, slowly packing her last few boxes with her this week. One of them labeled kitchen miscellaneous / wine openers / pizza cutter I stole from you, ha ha ha. She wrote that on the side like a joke, with a winking face. But I remember when she stole it. We were 23. She said, "Your pizza cutter sucks, I'm saving your hands." The stupidest thing is, I just bought a better one 2 months ago and never told her. Thought I'd give it to her for her birthday or something. Now it's sitting alone in my drawer. Too quiet. And I know people move. People grow up or away and come back and drift again. That's just what happens. But this isn't just someone moving. This is my person, unthreading herself from my life. Some days I want to scream. Others I want to freeze time. But mostly I just want her to know, without pressure, without guilt, that losing her like this is slowly wrecking me. And I'm still cheering, still smiling, still being in her corner. Because that's love too, right? Not asking someone to stay just because you'll miss the sound of their laugh through the damn wall. Yeah, the morning she left, I didn't say much. Neither did she. I showed up to help her finish packing the car. There was a weird hush to the whole thing, even though the city was already loud like it always is. Trash trucks screeching, dogs barking, someone blasting Mr. Brightside from 2 blocks over like it was still 2006. She handed me her keys without looking at me. "Just in case," she said. I nodded and didn't remind her I already made a copy last winter when she locked herself out mid-snowstorm. She never knew. We loaded the last of it in this crappy rented SUV. Not even a cute road trip car. It was too big for her. She said it smelled like feet. I cracked some dumb joke about her taking my hoodie hostage. She was literally wearing it. And instead of laughing, she hugged me, so tight it snapped something in my ribcage. Not physically. The metaphorical bone we pretend friendship doesn't lean on. That one. Snapped. She smelled like lavender detergent and that weird citrus body spray she's had since college that I secretly hate, but now it makes my throat close. When she pulled back, her eyes looked the way mine felt. Puffy and raw, like we both hadn't really slept. "This is so stupid," she said, like it physically hurt her to admit she was feeling something. I nodded too hard. "It's the dumbest," I replied. We stood there for another minute, and I remember this irrational urge I had to snatch her car keys and throw them halfway down the block. Just to buy more time. Just for anything that meant not this. Instead, I took a shaky breath and said, "Hey, go change your life, okay?" And she smiled like she was breaking in half, just whispered, "You'll still be in it." Then she got in the car. Pulled away. Slow. Like maybe if she did it gently enough, it wouldn't hurt us both that badly. It still did. The street looked different right after. I swear it did. Like every color lost its grip. Even the weird mural across from her place, the one we used to laugh at because it looked vaguely pornographic if you squinted, suddenly felt too loud. Too proud. Like nothing realized she was gone. I walked back to my apartment punching thoughts like mosquitoes off my skin. She's gone. No, she's not dead. You'll FaceTime. You'll visit. Other people survive this. You're a grown adult. But I didn't feel grown. I felt small. Like a balloon someone accidentally let go of in the wind, just floating aimless and pissed. That night I went to the bar we always used to go to. Sat at our corner high top. Ordered her drink, just to stare at it like an idiot. Cherry lime vodka soda with extra lime, no straw. It sat there sweating itself to death. I didn't even sip it. The bartender asked if I was waiting for someone. I said, "Kinda," and left before my eyes gave me away. Here's the part no one preps you for, the aftershocks. Like texting her something dumb and funny, and then hating how long it takes for her to respond, because now there's a time difference. Or driving past her old building, and having to swallow the punch if she's not there anymore. Or catching yourself saving stories to tell her in person before remembering, nope. She's not 3 minutes away. She's a flight. We're still talking, obviously. She sends pics of the mountains from her new apartment window. Updates me on the furniture arrivals. Tells me her coworkers are nice. Says she's lonely sometimes but feels lighter. And that's good. That's what she needed. But the jokes hit differently now. There's a lag. Emotionally, not just Wi-Fi. And sometimes I wonder, will we survive the lag? Because I've seen it happen. The slow fade. People swearing distance won't change things. Promising they'll stay the same. Then 6 months later, the texts get shorter. The calls happen less. You miss a birthday. They stop asking. You stop replying. And before you know it, someone who used to feel like your lungs becomes just a name that shows up during Facebook memory notifications. I hate that I even let my brain go there. But I do. God, I do. Losing people while pretending you're not is a kind of grief you can't post about. There's no funeral for friendship. No eulogies. No casseroles. Just you quietly dialing someone who doesn't pick up as fast anymore. And lying to yourself that you're just busy too. That's what hurts the most. The pretending. Because I can't pretend she didn't carry pieces of me I was too scared to hold myself. Or that she doesn't still sit like a shadow in every plan I try to make alone now. I catch myself saving space. On the couch. In my texts. On weekends. Like maybe, just maybe, she'll show up again. But I also know that's not fair. She deserves to build whatever magic she needs out there. And I deserve to figure out who I am without her orbiting. So I'm learning. Slowly. Painfully. Learning how to call other people. To smile without performing that smile with her in mind. To fill my Fridays with things that aren't her. Learning that just because someone leaves doesn't mean they're gone. She told me once, years ago, when my dad was sick and I cried on her shirt, that the people meant to stay with you? They figure out a way to stay. I hope she meant it. I hope we find that way.